So, how is a great artist actually made? I mean, is it talent? Sure. But sometimes the real story is in their childhood, in a family completely divided, a secret life, and the absolute shattering of an inheritance. We're going to dive into the early years of a literary giant, Thomas Mann, to see how his youth basically forged his entire artistic identity. This is the very question that haunted Thomas Mann himself. Did the incredible story of his family's rise and its spectacular fall all begin when his father married his mother, a woman who was just so utterly different from the world she was stepping into? This single question really sets the stage for everything that's about to happen. At the very heart of Thomas Mann's youth was this fundamental conflict. It was a clash of two completely different worlds, and they were embodied by his parents. And this wasn't just, a difference in personality. This was a collision of cultures happening right inside his own home. I mean, the contrast between them couldn't have been more dramatic. On one side, you have his mother, Julia, from Brazil. She brought the South with her. This world of imagination, stories about stars so bright you could read by them, a life filled with laughter and vibrant colors. In the very serious, sober city of Lübeck, she was like a strange, beautiful bird. And then on the other side, you've got his father, the senator. He was the North personified, all about duty, discipline, commerce. His world was ledgers, ships, and the family's century-old grain company. And where does that leave young Thomas? Well, he's caught right in the middle. He's absorbing both of these realities. He learns how to be the dutiful son his father needs him to be, but deep down, secretly, he's a dreamer, totally captivated by the imaginative world his mother brought with her. This created a split right down the middle of him that would pretty much define his entire adolescence. So as Thomas gets older, this divide inside him starts to demand an external performance. He has to learn to play a part, and he ends up living the secret double life. On the outside, he was the absolute perfect heir. He could talk business with anybody, impressing visitors with all his knowledge about cargo and shipping routes. Seriously, everyone, especially his father, was convinced that Thomas was the one destined to lead the family company into the next century. He played the part flawlessly. But it was all an act, and his older brother Heinrich saw right through him. With just one simple, cutting question, he exposed the whole facade. Thomas wasn't a young businessman at all. He was an actor, a fraud, living in this private world of his own imagination. And wow, what an imagination it was. His secret life was incredibly rich and vivid. We're not just talking about a little daydreaming here. He was completely transforming himself. In his own mind, he was a Greek god, or he was the woman with that intense expression in a painting that hung in their house. He was literally anything and everything except the one thing he was supposed to be. And then, just like that, everything changed. The performance came to a sudden, very dramatic end when his father died. But what came next wasn't just grief. It was a series of shocking revelations that would completely turn his world upside down. It's 1891, and the senator dies. And the will he left behind, it wasn't so much a final testament as it was a bomb, detonated right at the heart of the family. And it revealed just how little he truly understood his own kids. The will basically dismantled everyone's identity. First up, his older brother Heinrich, the aspiring writer. The senator just dismisses his passion as a product of a weak imagination and a total lack of discipline, even insisting it should be opposed. Then came the verdict on Thomas. His father looked at this son with this deep, complex inner world and just called him good-natured. He truly believed Thomas would easily adapt to a business life. It was such a complete misreading of his own son's character, which I guess is a real testament to how convincing Thomas's performance had been. But this was the final, devastating blow. The senator ordered that the family company, a legacy that had been built for generations, be immediately liquidated. The house was to be sold. With a single stroke of a pen, he wiped out the entire foundation of the Mann family's identity and their status in Lübeck. Gone. So, while his mother and siblings packed up and moved to Munich to try and start a new life, Thomas was left behind. He had to finish his final year of school. And this lonely, transitional year in Lübeck turned out to be a period of incredible personal and creative awakening for him. So he has this kind of intellectual romance. he develops this really deep, idealized affection for a classmate, a boy named Armin Martins. He pours all of these intense feelings into poetry about soulmates and eternity, only to be gently shut down by Armin, who told him he preferred ships to poems and, well, girls to ships. Now, in total contrast to that poetic, idealistic crush was another, very different kind of relationship. With his landlord's son, Willie Timpey, he had a series of encounters that were completely silent, almost ritualistic and purely physical. These two experiences, one all about the mind, the other all about the body, really show the dual nature of his awakening during that strange, lonely year. So Thomas finally moves to Munich to join his family, but his newfound freedom came with a catch. A totally soul-crushing job at an insurance company that his guardians had arranged for him. And this final act of conformity, it set the stage for his greatest act of rebellion yet. This is it. This is where the writer was truly born. His job was to copy accounts from one big book to another. I mean, mind-numbing work. But while he kept up the appearance of a hard-working clerk, he was secretly using the company's stationery and the company's time to write. He literally transformed the tools of his own drudgery into the instruments of his artistic liberation. Well, eventually, of course, his deception was discovered by a colleague. But when he was confronted, something fundamental had changed. He wasn't ashamed. Not one bit. He wasn't the boy playing a part anymore. In that stuffy office, through that quiet, secret rebellion, he had become the person he'd always been on the inside. He was a writer. The performance was finally over. And all this leaves us with a final fascinating question. The senator's will destroyed Thomas Mann's inheritance, his home, his entire predetermined path in life. But by doing that, did it also set him free? Was that very act of destruction the one thing required to create one of the 20th century's greatest artistic legacies? It really seems like in losing his inheritance, Thomas Mann finally found himself.